Good evening, Phoenix faithful, and welcome to this brand new section of Phoenix TV. My name's Anna, and I'm here with the owner of Manchester Phoenix, Mr. Neil Morris. We're doing a new section of the show, which is a phone-in. We've been taking questions all day. And Neil, I have a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Be my guest.
Okay, the main one that's come in that people have been asking is, what expectations do you and Tony set for yourselves for the season? People really want to know what goes in your heads and what you think about the season ahead.
That's a good question, Anna. I mean, to be honest, when we sit down, as we did probably about a month ago now, we tend to sort of try and be realistic with each other so that we don't fail. And what I mean by that is lots of people say, how do you build a team that you know is going to win the league and you know is going to win the cup and you know is going to win the playoffs? And the answer is you don't. You build a team that you think is robust enough that will take you through to the end of the season, that you hope will compete well and entertain well. And by that, probably our expectations and what Tony and I try and do is try and put a team together every year that will finish in the top three and be competitive. And a team like that will normally be somewhere up near the top of the league, possibly could win the league in a cup final, possibly in a cup final, in the playoffs, possibly win the playoffs. So I suppose our expectations are is to build a team that's rounded, that's going to entertain, that's going to be competitive, that's going to be within the top three. And if we can do that, then, you know, I think we've probably done the job we need to do.
And how do you deal with it when it possibly doesn't necessarily go according to your plan?
Well,
do you and Tony sort of talk about it amongst yourselves throughout the season, or do you let it run its course?
No, we tend to. I mean, Tony and I have what's known as a business meeting every week, as opposed to a team meeting where we literally look at numbers coming through the door, how sponsorship's going, what we're doing with sponsors, how we please them. And then on the back of that is normally team performance, and we'll look at individual players' performance, we'll look at the way things are going with the team, and we'll talk about possibility of making changes when changes are needed. It's not something we like to do in Manchester because players become they like a team where they know they're going to start and they're going to finish the end of the season. So we try not to change too many players because it doesn't help you attracting the right people at the right time at the beginning. But if there's something wrong, and unfortunately for us, most of our problems have come from injuries, and everybody's fed up of hearing about it. But unfortunately in Manchester, we've been plagued with injuries, and every injury is a different thing to deal with that you need to talk about. I mean, a defender being out of the game is one problem. A forward being out of a game is another problem. Losing your number one goalkeeper right on the signing deadline is a totally different problem. And sometimes there aren't easy solutions for them. So everything's got to be looked at in an independent way and an independent light, and then you just try and make decisions and you try and do the best thing you can, and sometimes you take some risks and sometimes they're easy decisions.
Okay, Neil, that's great. Thank you very much. Well, as this is a phone-in, we do have Steve already on the line with a question for you, Neil. Steve, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, what's your question for Neil?
Hi, I've actually got two questions. My first question is, we don't usually re-sign any imports. How come we've re-signed Michael Cerny?
Can I give my answer, or do you want the organisation's answer?
No.
Okay, my answer is because Tony doesn't normally sign imports good enough to come back for a second year. Only kidding. I think basically it's down to merit and circumstances. And I think there's been players that Tony has wanted to sign before, but the problem is when you bring them to Manchester and they play really well and they score lots of points, other teams in Europe see them, think there's a great opportunity, and then we just totally get outbidded. And being a small team in Manchester, unfortunately, we're just not able to go up the scale the way some of these teams do in Germany and Sweden and around the European. So it's tough for us. So normally it's because they've had such a good season in Manchester, other teams want them. That's the answer.
Is that why Pozzovil's gone to France? Is it?
Well, because he wanted to play in France in the first place, and he had a good season with us, and that team obviously made him a very good offer. And one, without being funny, he obviously couldn't refuse. And I think you'll find he's already got two very good friends there. So I think for him it was a no-brainer, really.
And the second question, I've been reading about a lot of other local clubs struggling with sponsorship. How are we faring this season?
I think every sports team or every sports team in Manchester, including the big teams, are struggling with sponsorship. I mean, we saw last year, and it's been escalated this year. Manchester United using newspaper advertising, billboards, radio, and a little bit of TV to attract sponsorship. So I think it's very, very difficult. We've rewritten strategies this year in an attempt to bring in new teams, and we've actually expanded our academy and brought students in from sales and marketing from Burnley who've been working with the Comtech sales team. So
Right.
although we haven't had a massive sort of uptake on sponsorship yet, we've done an awful lot of hard work, and the guys have done a lot of groundwork, and to be honest, I'm really pleased with them. They managed to bring a sponsor in for the NIHL team in Howard Basforth a couple of weeks ago, which has thrown them a lifeline and helped that along the way. And we've got 2 or 3 positives that are with us at the moment. So yeah, it is very difficult, and we're having to sort of maybe triple the workload and come up with a lot of new tricks.
Yeah.
But we have a bit of a never say die attitude in Manchester. So let's just say that we're pleased with the way things are going. But it is very, very hard work, and it's difficult not to be negative at times.
All right, so things are going well though, and looking good for next season.
Things are going according to plan at the moment. I think we need to pick it up in the second period, and then we need to have a very big finish in the third period.
Oh, so lots to look out for next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, is that, you know, we can at least match the sponsorship that we had last year, and that's always the goal. If we can do anything more than that, then that would be absolutely fantastic, and I will be a happy bunny.
Good stuff. Thank you for answering my questions.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for your call, Steve. Take
Talk to
care.
you again.
Cheers, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What?
Hi, is that Jamie?
It is, yes.
Hi, Jamie, through to Phoenix TV. I believe you've got a question for Neil.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, the first question I'm going to ask is, after releasing, just keep it in mind that the fact that Luke Boothroyd and Robert Schnabel states that the club is unclear. How is the defence looking?
Well, we've actually signed Luke Boothroyd and Robert Snarwell now, as you probably know. Those releases have gone out. So we've been working on the rest of the defencemen around those, and we're very close to pulling off what we think will be some good results for us. So watch this space over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully you'll believe we've got a good defence this year.
Oh, brilliant. That's fantastic news. Great.
Jamie, what's your opinion on Robert Schnabel? What do you think?
Oh, obviously he's an integral part of the club. You know, obviously winning the playoffs last season, he was one of the main players within that. So I think it's integral that we try and sign as many as the current players as possible, really. But yeah, that's fantastic news. Great work.
Do you think he lived up to the expectation that everyone thought he would coming from the NHL?
Obviously, everyone has expectations coming from a big league like the NFL. Obviously, I think he's adapted well to our style, the English style of playing hockey, and I think he's settled well in Manchester, so I don't really see a reason why he can't re-sign. Obviously, coming off the back of the playoffs, I think it's only a stepping stone in a great future for him.
That's great. Another fan favourite there then, Neil.
Thanks very much.
Fantastic, thank
Thanks,
you.
Jamie.
Enjoy your season.
Bye-bye.
Hello?
Hi, is that Andy?
It is, yeah.
Hi, Andy, you're through to Phoenix TV. I believe you've got a question for Neil.
Yes, I have. Neil, I was wondering what your thoughts were on the rumoured UK Hockey League that's supposed to be launching in the 2014-15 season.
You know, the biggest problem is that you end up with lots of rumours, and then the rumours become a bit of a reality. And what's actually happened here is that some of the owners have got involved, and then it becomes a sort of, where would you go, where would you play, are you going to stay in this league? And then it gets a little bit out of hand. And what we've tried to do in Manchester at the moment is just sit back a little bit, because I think that some of this is just rumours. And I don't think there will be another new hockey league, to be honest with you. And I think you've got to be very careful, because people start putting you on forums, and then you start getting reported in newspapers that you're about to jump leagues. And in Manchester's place, it's probably best we don't move leagues again too often, as they didn't like it last time we moved. So we're just sitting tight at the moment and seeing whether it's a rumour or whether it's a reality. Tony and I feel at the moment it's not a reality. Does that help you?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think, well, you know, if I see it, I'll believe it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think at the moment we found some stability in Manchester playing in the Premier League, and you know, we're slowly growing the club. And I think the product we've got is exciting, and it works where we are at the moment. And I think as long as we're pleasing customers, that's the most important thing to us. And moving leagues doesn't give you stability, so we have to be very careful, and we also have to be very careful what we buy into.
Yeah. They're quite ambitious with their proposals. They are suggesting they want to govern, develop, promote ice hockey throughout the UK.
Yeah, I mean, what they're talking about is actually, or the people who are aspiring to talk about this at the moment are saying that they want to run it as a franchise, and that everybody then has a part of the business, including the TV company they bring in, including the main sponsor, including the teams as independents. And, you know, this model's been really mooted long before I got involved, even in the Super League days. But it's never come to fruition, and it does sound a good model, and then the business plan looks good as well, but it just never seems to come off. It seems to always get talked about every 2 to 3 years. So, you know, I'd be interested in looking at it if it was a reality. How's that?
Yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think you know, the main thing for all of us is could it be governed properly, or are you going to end up with some teams that run away at the top of the franchise and lots of teams at the bottom of the franchise? And I think, you know, that's the difficult thing for everybody to decide.
Yeah. Okay, right, thanks.
That's great. Thanks very much, Andy.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, Sandra.
Hello.
Hello, you're
Hi.
through to Phoenix TV. How are you?
Good.
How are you enjoying the off-season?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good. I'm here with Neil. Have you got a question that you want to ask him?
Oh, I've got a couple, yeah.
Ooh, that-
What are the chances of playing a different team for our warm-up game at the beginning of the season? I.e. somebody from Germany, perhaps, or Europe with Tambo's contacts?
Yeah, the only problem we have with playing a team in Europe, and this is what we looked at last year, is that they run on these rules where if they play us, we have to play them, and they want a week's break between the two, and the time it takes to travel out to them and come back again, we've lost training time for getting ready for our own league, and then we have to bring the guys in 2 weeks earlier, and sometimes covering the wages is really difficult, and it does interfere with Tony's training camp. So even though it's probably obvious which team we're going to play, it does make common sense for them, because we literally just stop training, play a game against them, and then play them the night after. So we tend to play back to back. If you watch what we do, we'll play one Friday night and we'll play the other Saturday night, or we'll play one Saturday night and we'll play the other one Sunday night. So it sort of fits for us, really. And I suppose really, and you probably don't want to hear this, but it works out more as a workout for the team as opposed to entertainment for the fans, and it's all part of the training schedule and getting ready for the league, really.
Okay. It was just a thought.
I've got a question for you. What are you doing on Sunday night now you've got no hockey?
What, this particular Sunday or any Sunday?
Well, you can pick this
Just
Sunday
in
if it
general.
works for you, or you can pick any Sunday. I mean, what are you doing on Sundays now you've got no hockey?
Well, looking after my 10-month-old granddaughter.
Oh.
Taking my 7-year-old adopted grandson to the zoo. Things like that, you know, with the kids.
Would you rather be at hockey, or are you quite happily enjoying your summer?
Pass.
Bear in mind you're a steward, Sandra, so your answer to this should be
I love the time with the kids, but I do love the time with the boys as well, watching the hockey.
Yeah.
good
Well,
answer.
you know, just so you know, I was going to take Anna to the zoo the other week, but somebody suggested not to do so because they wouldn't be back in time for the programme.
I thought you were going to say they wouldn't let her out again.
I'm going to dignify that with a response. Thank you very much for your call, Sandra.
Okay, thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your summer. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Hi, Martin. It's Anna at Phoenix TV. You all right?
Hiya.
Hi. I believe you've got a question to put to Neil.
I have, yes. Hi, Neil. I was just wondering what your views on the rules for the import players in the EPL. Do you think the 4 players is an appropriate number? Would you like to see more or less? Also, would you prefer to be able to pick North American players and not be limited to the Europeans as it is at the minute?
Do you know what? I think I think those are 2 really, really good questions, because I think there's a debate goes on about how many players we should and shouldn't have, and I think that possibly we're not with the 4. If I'm honest with you, I don't think Tony and I think we're a million miles away from where we need to be. We think possibly maybe to bring a little bit more to the teams that we've got, maybe 5, possibly 6, but you need more than 50% really of GB players on board if we're ever going to develop the sport. And I think one of the problems, I don't know whether you go back to Super League days, but at one point in Manchester we did have an all-import squad and there was no positions left for any Brit players. And I think that's where we've gone wrong. That ran for maybe, 4 or 5 years, and it definitely left a big dent behind it. So I don't think we should be swamped with international players, because I do believe our own guys here can produce excitement and they can produce good entertainment. But I do think that we learn from imports, and I think they do bring a spice and an element to the game that makes it more exciting for the customer.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And I think, what was your second question?
Do you think it should be limited to just European players? Would you like to be able to bring in some North American Canadians as well?
Do you know what? I think Tony and I both agree. We would actually in Manchester like to bring some North Americans in, because again we think they bring something else to the game, and I just think it gives us a bigger pool to choose the type of players we want. And I think you see yourself when you watch it on television. European hockey is very different than British hockey, and European hockey is different than North American hockey, etc., etc. And I think when you bring all these elements together and you make it work as a team, I think you can have something quite exciting. So again, I think Tony and I both think it would be nicer to open that pool up, but obviously that's something that the English Ice Hockey Association have decided not to do over the last, quite a few years now. But we are in their ear and we are trying to get them to listen to us. So at some point, maybe your question will become valid and it'll become yes, and we're bringing some in.
Right.
That's great. Thanks very much for your question, Martin.
Have a good season.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, is that Chris?
Hi, yes, it is.
Hi, Chris. This is Phoenix TV. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I'm here with Neil. I believe you have a question.
Yeah, I've heard some rumours that there's another ice rink being made in Manchester. I was just wondering, would the Phoenix be relocating?
That's a really good question, that, Chris. It isn't actually being built at the moment. There has been some proposals put forward by a developer, I believe, somewhere outside the centre of Manchester to build a smaller arena, come ice arena. And what happened was a radio programme rang me and asked me, would we move from Altrincham to Manchester? And I said it was a long way off yet, and that the place needed to be built, and that we'd always be looking for the best home and the easiest place for our customers to get to, and that was my answer. And I think probably the customer, the fans, you people would have a big say if we were ever going to move again, and where you wanted it to be, and if that was an easier place for everybody to commute to, and it was a safer home for us, and it was a good commercial deal, then we would look at it at least. But we are quite happy at Altrincham at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Do you think the rink's been fit for purpose? Obviously, when it was built, it was only supposed to be temporary. Do you think it's lived up to what we all expected it to be, or?
I don't know how long Chris has been coming, but I think we've been very lucky with the building we've got, because it was only built as a 5-year temporary rink, and I think it stood the test of time already, and it's sort of become a permanent building. So the boys that came over from Scandinavia and built all the substructure have done a really good job, and I believe the plan is when that is taken down and the new building comes, and there is news of a new building now, that will be transported and built elsewhere. And the guy that designed it, put it together, said it's good for 50 years. So as a semi-permanent building, I think it's been great. I think there's certain facilities that we miss, and there's certain home comforts we miss in the fact that it was only put together on a temporary basis. But I think what we've actually got and how we've survived has been brilliant. I don't know what you think about that, Chris.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy where we are.
It works, doesn't it? It's sort of fit for purpose for now, and if we had to do another 5 years there, at least we know the roof's not going to fall in.
Hopefully, yeah.
Provided no one breaks in again.
Yeah, if nobody breaks in again. Yeah, it's not always great, is it? Well, thanks for your call, Chris, and enjoy your season with the Phoenix.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hi, is that Rose?
Hi, yes, this is Rose.
Hi, Rose, through to Phoenix TV.
Hello.
Hello.
TV.
I believe you've got a question that you'd like to ask Neil.
I have, yes. I just wondered if the new shirts for the next season have been designed yet, and if there's any new surprises for us.
It's top secret. I'd have to kill you if I tell you.
you wouldn't. No one will know.
Are there any
Clue.
surprises for you? Yes. Yes, there are some surprises for you. How's that? Let me put it this way. There could be a change in the cup shirt.
Ooh.
That's all I'm prepared to say, really. If you want to know more, you're going to have to come along to the shirt launch.
And when's that?
Well, actually, it's not been fully decided yet because there was a date and I believe there has been a technical hitch and we are just looking at having a new launch date. So any time now or even by now, that time will have been disclosed.
Well, I'll definitely be there, Neil.
Thank you very much. You know what? It's really important at least one person turns up. It's really lonely on my own.
Rose, have you got any particular shirt model favourites that you want to see at the shirt launch?
I do like the home shirt. That's my favourite. So I just want to see what new stuff they've done with that one this season.
I tell you what, are you a season ticket holder?
I am, yeah.
You're going to love the home shirt then. You're going to
Am I?
love it. Yeah, I tell you what I can tell you. This is top secret. Don't tell anybody, okay?
Okay.
But every season ticket holder's name is on the home playing shirt this year.
Oh, brilliant. That's great.
So there you go. So there's a nice thing for season ticket holders. How posh is that? But remember, this is top secret.
That is.
Don't tell anybody, okay?
I won't tell anyone, my lips are sealed.
Oh, and you lot, this is top secret. You can't tell anybody. I've got a question I asked somebody a little while ago which completely stumped them, but it should be easy for you. What have you been doing on Sunday nights rather than coming to hockey?
What would I rather do on Sunday night? Oh, actually just staying in and watching hockey.
Oh.
I miss it.
You know what? That's much better than Anna because Anna's just been going out and getting drunk.
Oh, no,
Lies,
no, that's
all
not
lies.
me at all.
I've been having withdrawal symptoms.
Well, we'll see you when the season starts. In fact, no, we'll see. We'll see you at the shirt launch. I expect you to come and find me. Okay?
I will. I'll find you.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thanks for your question,
Thank
Rose.
you, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, she's fun.
Oh, we got some nice, bubbly people.
I know, she's really fun.
Yeah.
So
good.
every season ticket holder's name
Every
is on it.
season ticket holder's name, everybody that buys a
How big's
season
the
ticket by the close of play, so which is end of early bird, will be on the shirt.
That's me.
That's you.
Me.
So you're on it.
I am.
I just think it looks really good. It's
Thanks.
really different.
How'd you fit them all on?
It's a bit of a secret how we've done it, but it does work and it's good.
Sounds like a nice idea. Was that one of the ideas that you opened up to the fans for suggestions, or is it something you came up with in the organisation itself?
What we've done this year is we went out to an agency and got some ideas, different types of shirts from different sports all around the world, and then they brought all those ideas in, and then two of the designers have looked through them and thought that's nice and that's good and that's good, and we tried to be a little bit different this year, to be honest, in the fact that there's lots of very really special because all the printing techniques have changed on materials now. You can really be out there, and if you go and look at stuff like, and I know not many people do, but really sort of sports like MMA, motocross and stuff, some of the shirt designs are absolutely awesome. They're nothing like football. They're really out there. So we tried to be a little bit more modern without going too far, but then tried to keep a little bit of the contemporary design in there. So this year will be a little bit of mix with it, and it was just really nice. We saw the names on a foreign team that wasn't even in ice hockey, and we just thought it was a lovely thing to do. And it works really well as the design. It sounds a bit weird, but when you see it, it works really well because from a distance it looks like it's part of the design of the shirt and the material, but close up you can read the name, so it's really
It's good.
clever.
It makes it a lot more personal for the fans as well, and
Yeah,
should
it-
encourage more people to go out and buy one.
Well, maybe it'll do two things. Maybe we'll try and have some more season ticket holders than we've ever had before, which would be lovely for the club, and maybe we'll sell a bit more merchandise, and whatever makes the club stronger is good, and plus it's different. I like modern things and I like ideas that other people aren't doing, and hey, let's see.
It's a nice idea. Okay, Neil, so we did open our questions up to the Twitter.
Yeah.
We've had a tweet from Mark HB.
Oh yeah.
Again, just with regards to the building of a new rink in Altrincham. Now, I did answer that previously, but obviously it's something that is on the forefront of everybody's minds. It's something that people are really interested in.
Yeah. I think Mark probably will find the answer that I gave earlier. We'll probably answer exactly what he's asked there because it's very similar. So you're right, it must be on the forefront of a lot of people's minds, and I think they want to know, if we're going to up sticks and move. And as I said, at the moment it's just plans, and I don't think they've raised the finance or got the permission to build it. So there's a long way to go yet. But let's see what happens. And as I said earlier, really it's going to be down to the customer as well. Anna, where does the customer want the base to be, and is it commercially viable, and is it a better bet for us at the moment? As I said before, quite happy where we are at the moment, and they look after us. So, hey, let's see what comes in the future.
Let's see what happens. And also a tweet from Mike Landers, who
good
wants
old
to
Mike.
know where he can get a new carburetor for a 63 Mark II Jag.
Mike, have you got a 63 Mark II Jag? I don't believe that. That is an awesome piece of kit. Okay, carburetor for one. Let me just think. Okay, I know. Okay, he's not here this week because he's sunning himself on a beach, but you can ring him next week. You want Colin at CW Motors, because he sold me a Jag a few years ago, and their place is always pulling them down and putting them up. In fact, they've got a very, very old Porsche that has been stripped down to nothing. I think it's a 58. One of those funny looking things that you wouldn't believe is a Porsche in there at the moment. They're rebuilding, and they built a Stingray, I think 2 months ago, and they have a funny looking thing in the corner like an old army vehicle. So these are your ones, because this boy pulls Jags apart and put them back together. So Colin at CW Motors.
That's great. Thank you very much, Neil, and thank you very much everybody for your questions. I hope Neil's answered them how you wanted.
Or the best I could anyway.
Or the best that you could. You did your best.
I did.
If anybody has any more questions, do let us know. We'll still answer them via Twitter. And stay tuned for the next phone-in that we should be doing soon.